Welcome to the Friends of NPACE Podcast, brought to you by Haleon. As a leading global consumer healthcare company, Haleon is dedicated to delivering better everyday health with humanity. Known for trusted brands like Advil, Excedrin, and Voltaren, Haleon leverages science, innovation, and human understanding. Haleon is proud to collaborate with NPACE to educate healthcare professionals about our pain portfolio and the latest healthcare information. For more information, visit www.haleonhealthpartners.com.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Friends of NPACE podcast. I'm Terry Schmidt, the Executive Director of NPACE, and this is the Friends of NPACE podcast. I'm super excited to be talking with a very seasoned nurse practitioner and one of my friends, but I'm going to get in trouble for saying that because we just had a conversation about how he hasn't seen or talked to me in a while. Sean Dent. Sean, I mean, you're an acute care NP. You've been an NP for 20 years now. ICU experience. You're Dr. Dent because you went back and got your DNP. You've been in nursing education. You've helped develop clinical practice settings. You're a speaker. You're on social media. You have a passion for staying current for evidence-based practice. You love coffee and working out. And I read pancakes in your bio, and you have cats. I think the audience should know, instead of the numerous tattoos that they can see, that you are a cat dad.
I am a cat dad, yes. And I'm supposedly your friend, but I don't feel.
And did you hear me laugh so loud at that? Wait till people listen and they're like, what did she mean by that laugh?
Yes, I'm not gonna repeat what you said. Yes, I've been doing this a little while. 20 years as a nurse. Went back and got my NP because of personal experiences as a bedside nurse. Up until the beginning of this year, I spent all of my time, 99% of my time, within the walls of the ICU. Most recently left from inpatient to now I live in the outpatient world as an acute care NP. You and I met on social media almost 20 years ago.
We did, on that space called Twitter.
Yeah, back when Facebook wasn't a thing yet. That's how old we are. And you and I both showed up on social media because we wanted to make sure we weren't the only ones experiencing what we were experiencing. So, needless to say, social media has changed a lot over the past 20 years, both good and bad. But some of the relationships like yours that I have developed are some of the best I have. So,
agreed. And they've withstood the test of time. I mean, I feel like I entered social media to really talk about nursing, to be an advocate for nursing and patients and nurse practitioner, which wasn't a new profession at the time, but still was. I worked in a state where you couldn't even write controlled substances, and it's still under a collaborative practice.
Wasn't your username that didn't have education in it?
No, it was online nursing. I was online nursing.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Mine was boring as my name. So.
And I did talk a lot about nursing education. That's why I was there. Yeah. Good nursing education, because there's a difference. I mean, no one wants bad nursing education, but sometimes people want easy.
Well, apparently Florida did. Oh, did I say that? Sorry.
Yeah. Well, let's bash the state I live in, shall we? But it's true. Do you want to live in a state? And of course, that came up. There was fraud and all kinds of things, but they tried to take care of that, weed that out. Kudos to them. The State Board of Nursing, unfortunately, in this state is way understaffed, and that's a problem when you have the regulating body severely understaffed and underfunded. But that's another topic.
So I think you need to, I was just going to say, you need to warn your listeners that you and I have we have a horrible time of staying on point.
We do. Because we get so excited. Okay, so what we're here to talk about today is a topic that's near and dear to my heart, but that you've helped me with over the years. And that's talking about in-person conferences and why they're important. But before we dig into that, I do want to ask about one thing you said. So we are going to be a little bit tangential. One, you said you're now moved from the inpatient to the outpatient setting.
Mm.
How is that? How are you bearing from that? If you just want to share a little bit, and what is life like in an outpatient setting for an acute care NP?
So, for perspective, 20 years in the inpatient world, ICU life. So it was always a 12-hour shift, and you worked shift work, nights, days, doubling back on day shift to night shifts. I did that for 20 years, and then the past 13 years, worked as an NP, transitioned to just day shift, but I was still working 12 hours, and I was still working random days of the week. I was working the holidays, the weekends. And then 4 years ago, had major back surgery, had a 3-level laminectomy. And then over the past 8 years, I've had a total of 6 surgeries. So at the ripe age of 52 and 6 surgeries in, working that kind of shift was quote unquote killing me. Can I say killing on this podcast? Am I allowed to say that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think
it was
anyone
killing.
who's been in healthcare knows that feeling. And
Yeah.
like legitimately it was killing you.
It was
right?
It was killing me. I actually, during the pandemic, I actually did burn out. Thought that I had recovered from it. Shared that with you, that I thought I had recovered from it, but there was residual burn that I apparently was not aware of. It came in the form of just physical exhaustion. I had real bad insomnia, still do to a degree, and my health was suffering both physically and mentally. So for the past, probably passively for the past 3 years, actively for the past year and a half to 2 years, have been looking for a way out. I really thought that I would retire in the ICU because it's my first love. I absolutely love everything about critical care. I mean, that's why I stayed in it as long as I did. It's why I was a educator. It's why I spoke at conferences about it. It's why my online presence was about teaching critical care. So critical care was in my blood. So I thought I'd croak at the bedside in the ICU. I really did. But it was killing me. So it was trying to find a job that I could do or see myself doing. But I also was ready to get out of the hospital. I wanted the Monday through Friday life. I was scared to do it because, shift workers, we get those stretches of days off in the middle of the week so you can take care of all the adulting things you need to do in the middle of the week when everybody else is at work. I was worried that I wouldn't be able to do those things. I was worried a good friend of mine who's also who also was in the ICU and has also left for the outpatient world, Danielle. She's Nurse Abnormalities on Instagram.
Okay.
Easily find her. She came up with something she said something a couple of months ago that has really hit home with me, is that I tied my identity to the ICU and I wasn't ready to give up my identity. So I fought it for a long time because we all do it, whether we like to admit it or not. We tie our identity to our profession. Like when someone asks you to define yourself, you're going to mention nurse somewhere in there. You're going to mention healthcare somewhere in there. So it was no surprise that the ICU was my identity. So I was afraid to give up my identity. Needless to say, I found a job both on purpose and accident, Monday through Friday job. I don't share on social media or in public what the specialty practice is, but it is a specialty practice. It's not in primary care. I'm an acute care nurse practitioner. So it is a specialty practice for an acute care NP. Monday through Friday job, 8 to 5. just like everybody else that works a Monday through Friday job. The job itself has been a blessing. It was a bit of a gamble, and it ended up being the best thing ever. But more specifically, the lifestyle has given me my life back. Like, I didn't understand how exhausted I was until I no longer had to live that life. Like, the amount of energy I had at the end of the week on a Monday through Friday job, the amount of energy I have at the end of the week on Friday still is tenfold greater than the energy I never had after a 3-day stretch in the hospital. You know?
Yeah, it almost took you 3 days to recover, right?
Yeah, so I would work those in my prime. I was working 7, 8, 9, 10 shifts in a row. Over the past couple of years, I could barely do 3. And after that third shift, it would take me 2 days to recover, just because I'm getting older. I'm not as healthy as I used to be. All those surgeries, back surgery changes you permanently. So I was crippled. And the amount of exhaustion that I would have by the time I recovered, rinse and repeat, I had to do it again. And that was just the vicious cycle every week, every month for years. And now that exhaustion's gone. So not only do I have more energy, I'm also sleeping better. I actually get to see my wife more than just in passing now, which is a joke, but it's the truth, is that she worked a Monday through Friday job and I always worked hospital life. So now our schedules align. I get to see her. I get to see and hang out with my family more. I get to see and hang out with my friends, because I couldn't do that before because I was so exhausted. So I couldn't do the normal human being things because I was so tired. So how has it been since I left the ICU? Absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing.
I love hearing all of that. Thank you for sharing that with us. But congratulations. And there is life, right? A life for acute care NPs outside of a hospital setting, which I think is an important takeaway.
Yeah, I think we talked about this off before we hit record, is that a lot of the profession, a lot of the internet doesn't seem to understand that an acute care trained nurse practitioner can work in other settings besides the ICU. You can work anywhere that you have been trained with that patient population. So the biggest difference in most acute care training is that it's adult. There is
pediatric acute care.
There is pediatric, but it's a very
its
separate
own degree. Yep.
It's a very separate niche. So most acute care NPs are adult nurse practitioners. So I, as an acute care NP, I'm an adult nurse practitioner, but I can take care of any adult patient. I should not take care of primary care adult patients because I haven't been primary care trained, but I could do it if I had to. For instance, when I worked for the hospitalist group in the hospitals. Hospitalist medicine sometimes is loosely compared to primary care in many instances. But it's unfair for patients for me to take care of them in a primary care setting because I don't have that knowledge and experience. But I do have the knowledge and experience to work in a specialty clinic. I could work in a cardiology office, a nephrology office, pulmonary, ID, any of those specialty practices where your acute care training is beneficial, you could work in an outpatient setting. So anything that you did in a hospital, where you treated a patient in the hospital, if you imagine the system that you treated, if you transplanted that to the outpatient world, you could take care of patients in that setting. So I think many people don't realize that. So
I think that's a great point. Thank you for making it. And congratulations on your transition. One thing in a lead in that is, I brought you here to talk about just continuing education and in-person conferences for multiple reasons. But before we hit record, we were talking about how you get better at practice and take that away. And I think about when I started practicing as an NP many, many years ago, before even, right after my middle child was born, and he just got a
Stone
master's
tablets?
degree. Yep, gas lights. But how much things have changed. So, for example, diabetes care is completely different now than it was when I first started practicing. We don't even write the same stuff. Infectious disease, sinus infections, bronchitis, abscesses, completely different how we treat blood pressure, like where the parameters are. It doesn't stay the same. So one of the ways you get better is by seeking out really good professional development, which we all know. But
isn't there some sort of cool buzzword like evidence-based practice?
Yeah.
Have we heard that before? We've heard that before.
I have evidence-based practice.
Yeah.
But what did you say? We were talking and you said that clinicians should ultimately be like constantly improving, curious about what we don't know.
Well, you said it, is that whether we like to admit it or realize it or not, but we're all scientists. And that in order to improve your practice, you have to constantly be asking yourself two questions. Why or why not? No matter what the topic, scenario, idea is, I mean, something as simple, and I just saw it on social media, of all places, that someone came to the realization that peripheral IVs for adults is changed every 3 days in the hospital setting. But a peripheral IV on a child is not.
We just leave it as long as it's working and not infected, because we're not going to stick them again. Yeah.
Well, right. So someone had the foresight to say, why? Why are we changing it in an adult? What does the evidence say? Does the evidence say that that's beneficial? And they did their own pilot study. This was in the UK, I think it was. They did their own pilot study, and it ended up being applied nationally that there's absolutely no benefit to changing out an IV after 3 days. There's no, decreased risk of infection. There's no changes in the risk of infection. There's no changes in the efficacy of the line itself. So it was an outdated approach. We joke, you and I joke about it all the time. Well, it's just the way we've always done it. Why? So you have to have someone that has the forward thinking to constantly ask those two questions. Why or why not? And the why not could be, for instance, patients who are fresh post-op, we don't get them out of bed. Why not? I bet somebody asked the question, why not? Because guess what? Every post-op patient, once, even before they're extubated in some cases, they're out of bed. Or, because, most of my training is critical care, that why are patients who have an open heart, have a cabbage, why are they on the ventilator for 3 days? Why not extubate them hours afterwards? And guess what? Now, if a patient is on the ventilator for more than 3 hours after a open heart surgery, you did something wrong. Something is stopping that from happening, because that's now the standard. That all happened because somebody in the healthcare world asked the question, why or why not?
And then we got the evidence and we shared it, right, with each other. Instead of just blindly believing what sounds good, because we used to keep people intubated and sedated because we thought it was better. If they didn't move around, if nothing ever.
Yep.
But we didn't know. It just sounded good.
Yeah. I mean, early mobilization. So I just in the ICUs that I worked in, we championed early mobilization to the point where we had an intimate relationship with the PT and OT departments, so that every ICU patient every day was getting out of bed, no matter what was going on, unless there was something that was going to harm them, as in they had fractures, unstable injuries, or they were too hemodynamically unstable. Other than that, there was like maybe three things that stops a patient from getting out of bed. Every patient got out of bed if somebody asked the question, why not?
Mm-hmm. I like that. Well, and we did stuff wrong if people hadn't continued. So I do primary and I do the whole lifespan. I've done a lot of peds and I've done a lot of adults, but I have always done diabetes. And one of the things we did for a long time with type 2s was give enough insulin to bring their blood sugar down long term. It's wrong. When you just keep loading and loading and loading and loading people with insulin who are already resistant, you are making that loop worse. It was causing weight gain, it was causing malfunction, it was causing a whole host of other issues that we didn't know unless we asked that question. And now we have all kinds of groups of medications in the endocrine system. It turns out it's much more complex than we thought. But if we continued and nobody to ask that question, it's an
You're gonna love
excellent
this.
time to be practicing.
You're
Let's
gonna
hear it.
love this segue. You're gonna love this segue. Gee, Terry, how can an advanced practice provider learn how to ask those questions? They can go to a conference.
They can.
Yeah.
So let's talk about why, and let's talk about overcoming some of the barriers, why maybe people don't go to conferences. So you joined me for some conferences at NPACE. You're getting ready to come again, so we'll talk about September, but why? What is in it for you, and why is an in-person conference a better bet for a clinician?
I've had a unique perspective of being able to see it from both sides. So when I first started my career, there wasn't a whole lot of online opportunities. Everything was in person. So you had to go in person, but you also had to afford it. And as a brand new bedside nurse, back then it was very difficult to afford. And most nurses didn't get a lot of money or didn't get a lot of assistance. So I didn't actually attend my first in-person conference until I was almost 5 years into my practice. And the first time I went, it was the most invigorating thing I ever experienced, because it's one thing to work with people that have the same vibe, share the same mind, in the unit that you work in the hospital you work in. But when you go to a live conference, you get to meet people who you never would have met before, who are doing either the same things you're doing the things that you want to do, or have experienced the good, the bad, and the ugly that you've experienced. So you get validated by what you live, but you also get inspired by others who may be doing it better than you. So it's you get to see how other people live the life you're living. So I think there's so many amazing benefits to going to an in-person conference, but the least of which is it relights the fire that started your profession in the first place. You got into this profession because of a curiosity, because of an interest, and maybe over time, healthcare has beaten you down a little bit. In-person conferences relight many people's fires. It helps rekindle that fire that was in your belly about something in nursing that you enjoyed, or if anything, shared suffering amongst others, amongst complete strangers,
Yeah, but like-minded causes and people dealing with the same issues. I think that's a good point, because how else will we solve those problems?
And
I like that. It's
but you
inspirational.
also, yeah, I mean, every conference I've gone to, I've never regretted it. Even the bad conferences, I've never completely regretted, because you're getting to see it from a different perspective. If anything, you get to see either how great your job is or how horrible your job really is. Because other people can tell you that, oh, no, we don't do that. We do this. Or, oh, I've never thought of it that way. I wish we could do that, you know? And
Yeah.
I've been blessed enough to have both of those conversations, that I take ideas from someone across the country, and then someone across the country takes one of my ideas. And then the cool thing about social media is that you can make connections, so that you can say, hey, remember when we met at the conference and we were talking about this? Like, it's kind of like you and I, like you make connections in social media. And then the first time we met was at an NPACE conference, which was 15 years later,
It's true.
but
It's very
but the
true.
reverse can happen. It's just, you can also make lifelong friends,
Yeah. Yep. I think it reignites, it starts those conversations. I think there's always something to learn, even at a not great conference. I routinely change my practice based on what I learned in this role. And it's such a privilege to have access to continued learning, almost like you did in school. Remember when you would constantly learn things in school at any level? It's good.
There's something about real-time learning that cannot be experienced online. I don't care if it's video or not. There's just something about real-time learning that you can't get that anywhere else than in a live conference. Like, for instance, in an online conference, you all do the whole video, watch the presentation on camera, and then when the presentation's over, you wait until the next session happens. There's no interaction. Maybe there's a Q&A that you can type in. Maybe there's a Q&A
Right.
that you can do a video. But for the most part, it's the primary presenter getting feedback, questions, and answers from single audience members. In a in-person conference, you not only get that, but then when everybody leaves the room, that's when the fun starts. That's when people start having those conversations. Or when you're getting coffee, or you're at the lunch table and you bump into someone. Hey, I saw you in the morning session. What'd you think about John's talk on pancreatitis? Because I thought he was making it all up. And that turns into something different than what you get in an online conference. I think that's what I like the most. And sometimes those conversations don't happen until towards the end of the conference, because everyone's still trying to figure things out. That's why the conferences that have like social mixers and things like that helps a lot, because the ice breaking is sometimes difficult for people who have never been to an in-person conference, which is always why if you can go to an in-person conference with a buddy, it makes it a lot easier.
Yeah.
Because then you
Yeah.
have someone that can be your wingman or wingwoman when broaching these kind of conversations. But at the end of the day, there's no substitute. I think you could ask anybody that goes to an in-person conference, they would echo the same sentiments. It's just getting someone there.
Right. So that's right where I'm headed. What is that? What is the issue that people aren't going? Why do you think?
Mm-hmm. Fear, opportunity, location, just not
Cost,
knowing.
not getting time off.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
Like anytime
unknown.
I
I
want.
think people don't know what they don't know.
Yes. So that also leads into the whole buddy system, is that you gotta recruit your friends to come to these conferences. I do it all the time. I did it in every conference I've attended at NPACE. I've done it.
Yes,
I've
you
done it.
have.
I've done it at every conference I've attended in other places that I want to go back to. Um, I went to a conference in Vegas for a critical care conference, and it was horrible. It was horrible.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Um, the speakers were bad. The topics were bad. It was just, you don't know what bad is until you have good, you know. Because if
Yeah.
you go to that conference and you think that all conferences are like that, then you'll never go back to another conference. So that's the
Yeah, and
other
that's the
difficult
thing.
part.
Yep. I yeah. I think people want that connection. We are now doing social mixers at all of ours, at least one night. Very casual, non-threatening. We just did a Roaring Twenties party. That was pretty fun, actually, in Chicago. We're getting ready to do one in June, but we're going to do a pool party, we think, in September at the acute care. I know, pool party. That place
Well,
has that nice pool bar.
you're reading my mind.
It was so good. That's just a great location. It's
Are we
beautiful.
are we
It's
going to talk
so
about that? Are we ready to
well,
talk
yeah.
about
So
that one? Or are
you're,
we going to wait?
I mean,
We're going to wait.
no, I mean, I think we listed the
Do you
barriers.
need do you need do you need to look at your agenda, Squirrel? Do you need to look at your agenda?
Oh, yeah, I got a little
Okay.
tangential. What do I talk about? Yeah, you tell me what advice you would give a practicing advanced practice provider about choosing a conference. So they're going to go. They've heard us and they're like, all right, I'm going to do it. I've never used my CME because I'm trying to be a good employee and save money. Don't do that. They cut it from the budget if you don't use it. Use all your CME money. All right, so they're going to do it. They listen to us and they're like, okay, I'm going to go for the pool party. How should they choose a conference? What's important to consider?
Always location. I mean, you know that. I've
Okay.
said that in more than one. I mean,
Yeah.
the draw for an in-person conference is the escape. It's absolutely the escape. The escape from either the job or the geographic location that you live in. It's to do it either by yourself, with friends, with family,
Mhm.
with coworkers. It's the escape. So going to a location that you'd want to escape to. You know, I've been to the conference that's in Arizona this September. Is where you and I finally got to meet 2 years ago. So it's in the same place. Absolutely breathtaking place. It's
It
on a,
is, right?
it's an absolutely breathtaking resort. It has pools. It has a slide. It has a amazing fitness center. It's got life-size chess game that you can play. It's got
It has
a
all those murals around the
yep.
top of the,
It's got a
yeah.
beautiful walk every morning that you can take. Um, and then if you really wanted to go into Arizona, you could go into town there. There's a reservation, an Indian reservation that you can.
Mhm.
There's trails that you can do. There's
You
a
can hike.
horseback riding, hiking.
Yep,
So
it
it's always
actually backs up to where those wild Mustangs live,
yeah.
if you're lucky enough to see the wild horses. But so quiet, like in the morning and at night. It's not a loud place,
Oh, it's a
peaceful.
nice escape. So location.
Okay,
For
locations
instance,
first. What
when
else?
when I went to NPACE last fall in Boston, awesome, amazing. Got to go to Fenway. I mean, come on. So it's
You got
always
to go
about
to Fenway.
yeah. So it's location. That's the first one. Second one is there's got to be something within the program that interests you. I think
Okay.
a lot of people get turned off by the whole program has to jive with you. Like from day 1 to day 4 throughout the whole thing that if there's pieces of it that I don't like, then I'm not going. And you can't view it that way. You have to view it as, do you think you think you could get value from at least 30% of what is on the program?
Okay, 30% rule. I like that.
I only
Because
say 30,
odds are,
I only say 30% because 30% of the time you're not even going to pay attention. And 30% of the time you ain't going to even be in the conference.
but you can get your CE later when you
There
do it
you
online.
go.
But I'm pleasantly surprised, even if there's 2 or 3 on an agenda, I'm like, oh my God, how much of it is really good? I'm like, I didn't even think about this thing. I thought it would be dumb.
Well, that's the
I've
other
said
part
a
is
lot
that
of,
that's what I'm saying. 30% by looking at the program itself. So all
okay,
you're doing is looking at the program online, and you can say to yourself that like a third of this, I think I'm interested in. You're going to get lucky that there's going to be another 15 to 30% that if you took a leap of faith and you just went into one of them that you think you might like, I guarantee you're going to like it more than you think you did. So you're going to get lucky for another 30%. Just you wanted to attend the morning session, and you wanted to attend the last session of the morning, but that middle part, I don't know if I want to attend that. Now, you could either just take off and go enjoy the sights, or you could stick around and see what it's like. If you stick around and see what it's like, you might actually find some value from it. So there's that unknown number that like every conference I go to, there's always at least 1 or 2 sessions where like when I write it on the program, I'm like, that is not something that I would ever watch or listen to. And then I just happened to be there when it happened, so I stuck around and watched it and ended up getting something from it. So there's always going to be something. There's always that
okay.
surprise element.
All right, so location, 30% of the program looks pretty good. Okay.
Yeah. And of course, it's gotta be somewhat affordable.
Yeah.
Whether that be with the assistance of work, or going halfsies with some friends, or you could get my discount code and get a % off on your registration.
You have, wait, what is your discount code? Do you, here I am in charge of things and I forgot you have a discount code. Tell the audience what your discount code is.
I think it's Sean 20. I'm pretty sure it's Sean 20.
Okay, well, I hope that works. I can neither confirm nor deny, but people can email us.
In the post credits, you can list that. So
I can. Okay, we'll put it in the description. All right.
That's the other
so
thing. That there's
affordable.
always early bird registration. You always save money.
Yeah.
So,
well, ours it's a hotel discount, so stay on site.
It doesn't matter, but it's a discount. There's still some discounts. So there's always ways of finding discounts.
I think the term affordable is a variable term, right? Because sometimes you get what you pay for, and we're not a membership organization, although those are really important to attend to your local and be involved. We're not going to take your time. We're not going to ask you to vote or be an advocate or ask you for your dues. That's not what we're doing. So that piece is out. But like feeding people decently, one of the big conferences that was always cheap and always in South Florida that I would go to for a couple of days for CME, like no Wi-Fi, no coffee, no snacks. Like it's in the middle of downtown Fort Lauderdale. The parking is $50 a day. By the time it was said and done, I'm like, it wasn't cheaper when it was all said and done.
Well, I mean, I've said it before, and I continue to say it, is that NPACE conferences take very good care of their attendees. Not only with the location and the rooms, but the services, the concierge services of, coffee throughout the day, having breakfast and lunch for almost every day of the sessions, and then the mixer. So, and it's not just like,
not
it's
just
not a
crappy
box
box
meal.
lunch.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's not a
nope.
box
I was just
meal.
gonna say
So
that.
yeah, it's not a
Like
box meal. We're talking like, filet sometimes, some foods that I couldn't even pronounce.
beautiful
We're
salad.
at the
There's
conferences.
yeah.
So, and there's always healthy options. There's always amazing sweet treats that are there. So
You got to get up and go work out at the fitness center to
yeah. So,
get this.
I mean, you're right. You get what you pay for. So a lot of people don't understand that when trying to decide where to spend their money, you know. And then last but not least, I think you have to reach out to people who have gone to these conferences before, you know,
Okay, so reach out to someone and ask
whether
them.
that be on, well, social media is the easiest place to go, you know. So
Okay.
for instance, if someone was interested in going to one of your conferences, they could easily go to either your website or go to your social media account and look for any kind of comments, feedback, posts on your conferences. It would be easy to find as to whether or not people enjoyed it, as to whether or
Yeah,
not people would recommend it.
I think that's
You know,
true. Okay.
I mean, it's kind of like when you go to purchase something on Amazon.
Yeah,
Who doesn't at least look at the reviews? You're gonna
right. I always read them. No,
you're
that's
gonna
a
at
good
least
point.
you're gonna at least look at the reviews to to guide your decision. Are you going to base your decision solely on reviews? No, but you're sure going to take into account. So I think
All
that's what
right.
I listed, like 4 things. So
No, those are really good. And I like location. And it depends, right? If this is your only time off and you're bringing the kids, you may want to look for someplace like Orlando or someplace that has a kids camp, send them all day. And if you want to get away from everybody and you want quiet, you might want someplace like Arizona, which is
although
where our acute care track will be.
Arizona is very kid friendly with that slide.
That is an amazing water slide. True. Just put them in the pool all day. Everyone will
Plan
have
on going down
otitis
that slide.
externa. I know I'm gonna do it this year.
I didn't go the last time I was there. I had a fresh tattoo, so I couldn't go.
I was working 12-hour days, so I did not go. But I did
Well,
get to kickbox.
you and I are going to the darn slide this year.
We are in the pool party. And there isn't
I'm going to make
kickboxing
sure
this time. There's
I'm
another.
going to make sure that your staff knows that
I'm going down the slide.
that you're
Okay.
going down the slide. It's
Better
now going to be
pack
a
my
social
suit.
media event.
The slide. Oh, I'm so excited. I do
It's
love
going to be a
water
social media
slides.
event. It'll be
Okay.
a social media event.
What do you think for acute APPs? What's out there? You said you went to a critical care conference. I mean, how's the field for live conference options?
It all depends on how far along you are in your profession.
Okay,
So for newer APPs, it doesn't really matter.
just
You can
go.
go to a local conference, you can go to a national conference, you can go to your acute care conference, because you're just establishing your practice. At the end of the day, you don't know what you don't know yet. So
Right.
you just need to start somewhere. As you progress in your field of wherever you're at, that's when you're going to start drilling down the weaknesses in your practice. Meaning, what do I need to get better at?
Mhm.
So for someone that takes care of ECMO patients, you're going to want to go somewhere that talks about ECMO, because maybe you don't know enough about that. Or if you're a place that does a lot of device management with, Impellas and balloon pumps and things like that, then you're going to want to go to a conference that offers that. Or if you're someone that is, it really has everything to do with specialty of practice, I think. You know, as you said, there are some conferences out there that are membership based, that are a lot
Mhm.
more robust. But the money that you don't spend at the conference, you're spending in yearly annual dues. So you're not really saving money, even though it looks like you're saving money. Because even though the conference is $300 or $400, that's in addition to the $150 annual fee. So did you really save money? I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't think.
right.
I don't think you
No,
did.
I agree. I agree with that. You brought up Impellas. I don't know what those are because I do primary care, but we're apparently talking about those and doing demonstrations. And
It's a cardiac assistive device.
okay,
So
nice. I
for
might
people
need
who
that
have
on a.
real sick hearts,
Okay.
whose EF is nothing.
Oh, okay, got it. Oh, we need to have an offline conversation about congestive heart failure. That made me think about something.
It's
Sorry,
like
tangential.
So if I had to give you a poor man's definition, it's a jet propulsion system to help a patient's EF.
Nice. Well, we're going to talk about that. People are going to learn.
It has to do with flow. So,
all right.
Whereas a balloon pump has to do with pressure. Balloon pumps has to do with pressure, and Impellas has to do with flow. So look at that. You're making me tap into the critical care database in my brain.
I'm making you teach. This is great. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about heart failure, ventilators, organ donation. There's lots of things that I don't ever deal with, and makes me super glad I am not an acute care NP and that there are acute care NPs out there. Oh, nice. Thank you for being here with me today and sharing your wisdom. I think it's always really important. You're such an easy person for, I think, other clinicians to connect to. You're so genuine and real, and this practice affects us all, but we got to get out and connect, and we need to do it at a conference and get our own cups filled a little bit, because we are constantly filling everybody else's cup.
I mean, I got into social media 20 years ago because I hated feeling alone when I first started as a nurse. And then when I became a nurse practitioner, I had that feeling all over again about feeling alone, as in how I was feeling. Was I the only one feeling this way? So in-person conferences tap into that void that helps you realize that you are not alone in any way. You know, from complete strangers all over the world that
connection,
share in the struggles and the challenges and the joy that you have at your job. Is that, we do talk a lot about how much this profession takes from you, but it also gives you a lot. It really does give you a lot.
It does.
And
it does.
Part of the giving is sharing that with the people that experience it the way you experience it. So, because it's one thing for a stranger to say, to try and validate your feelings, but it's a completely different feeling when someone who has literally walked in your shoes validate how you're feeling. Or to have someone like you,
I agree,
talk with a newer APP who's just entering primary care and help them validate how they're feeling.
Yeah, come see me. I would love to talk
way.
to you. Yep. I do that at conferences sometimes. My favorite people to talk to are the students and the new APPs. I mean, I love the wisdom, and especially the people of practice, but Sean, you and I are the OGs now, so I don't have as much as but these newer, they're gonna save us. These students and the new NPs will be what carries healthcare, and they make me excited. They have new ideas, and but they need to come so we can validate them.
Support, absolute support. So
and fun.
Absolutely.
Are you going to have fun in Phoenix? People can come see you in Phoenix.
Yeah. Watch me get on the slide.
You're going to go down this line and to the pool party?
I am so going down this line. I still haven't completely convinced my friends to come with me because of, scheduling with their children and things like that. But I'm going to keep harping on them. Try and get at least one of them to come down with me.
Yes, make them come. Yes, bring them so they
I
can enjoy
send
it
photos of I still have the photos from 2 years ago on my phone. So I send it to them all the time. Because it's a gorgeous place. So.
Yep. And if you walk both worlds and both lines, we have a super pass. You can get primary care and pharmacology and acute care. You can get all of it there.
Yeah.
Just saying. All right. But overall, I mean, we use this as a time to talk about NPACE. I really feel like the live conference, whether it's you're a student and it's certification exam review, like people are doing that online. You really need to go and be there. You've got to go to a live conference, no matter where it is or who it is. Don't give up on one. I think your points are super valid, Sean, about cost and discounts and location and bringing your buddy and checking out that agenda. I love the 30% rule. I'm going to use that forever. So
just make sure you give me the credit.
Oh, definitely. This is Sean's doing.
So 30% this crazy bald guy who used to be my friend.
Dr. Sean Dent, nurse practitioner. Oh, all right. If anyone has questions who's listening, Sean and I could talk on about everything. We got to meet again to talk about some other stuff. But thank you, Sean, for being here. For those of you listening, if you want to come to a live conference, you can find all things at www.npace.org. We have CE and CME at all the conferences. We have 3 more this year. We do have a live online event. I know we could have talked about that a little bit, but it's Lab Fest. All we're talking about is lab, like all the crazy labs that patients want you to run and you don't know if you should or not or what they do. We get that a lot in primary care, but students are going to need that one. But otherwise, come in person. We are going to have a special student event this year in Orlando. A PEA is going to join us and run live 2-day review after we do pharmacology. So students could come, and we're giving a steep discount to students, preceptors, and faculty that want to come to that conference and bring their students in Orlando. And you could see Mickey Mouse or go to Harry Potter. I love Harry Potter.
Harry Potter is amazing.
Right? Universal.
Yes. Oh,
no. You like the books. I know you like to read.
Yep. I've read all the books and seen all the movies.
Same. I've read the books more than once and then also done the audiobooks. Love it. So, yeah. So you could come and join us in Orlando too and go to Universal for I don't do the Halloween Horror Nights. I don't want to be chased, but you can come there. So we have remaining conferences this year. That's where it is. We have CE, CME. Of course, we have on demand if you need it to meet specific state requirements, or maybe you need to meet your DEA MAID Act and you need a bunch of opioids, and we're not going to do that in one conference. But reach out to us. Email us with your ideas. Connect with Sean and I. Sean, where can they find you on social media?
Pretty easy, my name. Sean P. Dent everywhere. So,
okay, Sean, S-E-A-N.
P as in Paul. Sean P. Dent.
Yeah.
It's really hard. I'm really hard to find.
Yeah, but you do have a world of wisdom there. Things like interviewing, what to consider about going back to school, job changing, the stuff we really struggle with. So I appreciate you sharing with your audience.
You're welcome.
All right. We're going to sign off here, and we'll probably keep talking, but we're going to turn the record off. But reach out to Sean and I if you have questions or thoughts, or if you want to join us in person. We do have discounts. We can help you out with that. We just want to get you connected. And so, Sean, any parting words before we say adieu?
No parting words. I talk enough. Because if I start talking, you'll start talking, and then it'll be a whole thing. So
that's so true. It will be a thing. All right. So for everyone, thank you for being here with us, and find us at www.npace.org. Thanks everybody for listening.